y'all doing? You probably noticed a little southern accent there. I am from the South, but I'm extremely happy to be here with you today because I get to share with you my story. The music of life is continually playing. Some of us get on the floor and dance, and then some of us go to the sideline. But the music of life continues to play. Who would ever have thought that I would be here before you today? I've already overcome the odds because the odds were that I wouldn't be here. So I have a story, and it goes like this. I was born April 1st, 1949. But my story actually began the previous fall. You see, I was born to a 15-year-old young lady who was a child herself. And we were both raised by her parents. Doctors will tell you that every emotion that the mother has, the fetus has it also. So for 9 months, I shared with my mother all of the anxiety that she felt when she realized that she had to tell somebody that she was pregnant. So April 1st, 1949, I was born into this world. But I was bringing baggage with me, the 9 months of stuff that I had collected to my unknowing. I was born into a loving family. My mother, her older sister, my grandparents, my mother had a younger sister and a younger brother. A loving family. But they didn't express that love. They didn't tell us, they didn't tell each other that I love you, that you were special, that you were going to accomplish things. So I grew up with the impression that I wouldn't be much. But on the other hand, when I graduated from high school, I said, man, I'm going to change the world. Because somewhere inside of me was the knowledge that I could do something special. The problem was I was dragging this weight behind me that was convincing me that I couldn't. So I got through high school. A couple of things happened in 1968. I graduated in 67. Two things happened in 1968. There was a race riot that involved most of the country. And there was a war in Vietnam. And most of my family and friends were receiving invitations to this war. I knew that my number was going to be called. So I volunteered before they called me because I thought that might give me the advantage of a choice as to where I would work. Well, I went to Vietnam. I didn't really have a choice. I stayed there for 11 months. And really, I was blessed because in the 11 months I was in Vietnam, I only got shot at one time. That was enough. I never raised my weapon to shoot at the enemy at all. So I was blessed. I wasn't really appreciated. The Vietnamese people didn't want us there. But I was there because that's where my country said I should be. I left Vietnam and I went to Germany. It had been 95 degrees in Vietnam for a whole year. I left Vietnam in December. I went home for a month. I reported in Germany in January. I went from 95 degrees to 25 degrees and snow on the ground. I didn't get warm the whole year that I was there. I wore my field jacket the 4th of July. I just couldn't adjust to that. But there was something else even more pronounced than that. A small segment of the German people didn't want us there. They especially didn't want people to look like me. And they would tell us, we don't want you here, go home. Now, they probably felt the same way in Vietnam, but we had no way of knowing because we didn't speak Vietnamese. But in Germany, they spoke perfect English. And they told us, we don't want you here. Now, this is what I heard because I had been hearing this for some time. You're no good. We don't want to be associated with you. I knew it from the race riots in '68. I knew it from my tour in Vietnam. I knew it from my tour in Germany. So I was discharged from the military in '71. I came home with an even larger duffel bag of negative thoughts. One thing about the Army, they give you a bag large enough to carry everything that they're going to give you in it. It's called a duffel bag. So I had this duffel bag of negative thoughts that I began to drag around with me. From '71 throughout the mid-'80s, I drug this bag. I took many a job because I didn't have the confidence to go after the job I really wanted. I got married, started a family. By the mid-'80s, I fell into a serious depression. Not a complete depression, but it was serious. Because when the sun would come up in the morning, I would want to cover up and slide further in under the covers. Whenever the sun would go down in the evening, I would want to come out. And the reason being, in the morning, I could hear people when they left my apartment building. They closed the door. I could hear them going down the steps. I could hear their car door open. I hear them get in the car crank up, and they drive off. Now, these are people that are going about life. I'm laying there in the bed, not wanting to get up. This went on for a number of years. I eventually, now, one other thing, I said I was not in a complete depression. That's true. Because on the weekends, I had to put on a happy face. We would go visit our parents. My wife and I live 30 miles or so from my hometown, so we would take the kids over to visit their grandparents. About twice a month, I'd have to put on a happy face because when you go visit your parents, they'll automatically ask you, how's it going? You can't tell them that it ain't going well, I'm depressed, I'm unemployed. I never told my parents that I was unemployed. My wife was working, and we were just making do. I read every book that was printed that gave you a positive image. I read Think and Grow Rich, Magic Thinking Big, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I read Psycho-Cybernetics, but that book was just a little bit heavy for me. I didn't get a whole lot out of that one, but I read all these others. I did not get the message that the author intended, but I did get this message. I kept a positive attitude. I didn't get down on myself, and I wouldn't let other people get down on themselves around me. But when Sunday night came, and I had to prepare for Monday, I had to pull off that mask that I had been wearing and face the day. And like I say, this went on for many a year. Then one day, I met a man who had been where I was, and he could show me how to get out. So I took his counsel, I took his instructions, I purchased his course and let them teach me and coach me to get me through to where I am today. Now, I am not where I am eventually going to be. But I'm not where I was either. I've learned some things as I have traveled this life course. Things that have benefited me and things that I am convinced can benefit others. As I mentioned, the game of life is still going on. Some of us are playing, some of us are not. A lot of us have thrown in the towel, especially baby boomers. For all of the baby boomers in the house, I'm here specifically to talk to you. All the others can listen in and benefit, but the message is to you, because when we get to this point in life, people don't expect a whole lot more from us. They have assumed that we've done all that we are capable of doing. So they don't expect much more from us. It's like this sage, and you know sages are always older people. This sage was talking to a young man one day. The young man indicated that he didn't know. He didn't know what he wanted out of life. The sage told him, young man, you got it wrong. Life is expecting something out of you. We can change that young man to old men and women, and life is still expecting your contribution. You've raised families, you've paid mortgages, you've done all those normal things, but there's still something in you that you have not yet done, that you are capable of doing. I've made it my life's ambition, my goal, is to not only accomplish those, not only am I going to change the world as I thought I would have done when I got out of high school, I'm going to assist other people in changing their world also. As I mentioned, the song of life is still being played. So for those of you who have thrown in the towel, I urge you to go back and get that towel and get back in the game of life and dance.